Hello, my name is Jean-Pierre Desmoulins. I am French, I am 45 years old, and I have been playing bridge since the year 2000. I work as an engineer in a technology company. I am also elected to the board of my federation, where I am in charge of development. But I come to talk to you as a teacher and author of bridge, since I've practiced this magnificent profession for more than 15 years. The most rewarding part of this job, most teachers will surely say, is its human element. No matter what subject they teach, a joyful job, so what more can we hope for? On the other hand, the most frustrating aspect for me was the inability to fully utilize my students' talents. Like you, I could make them play one or at most two gifts where they were really active on the subject of the day. So how can we make them progress more quickly? It's like a tennis teacher making his students perform one or two arm strokes every week. It will take time to be able to arrange them for a tournament, right? Similarly, I couldn't make my readers active by having them play the hand I was offering to them. Finally, by taking charge of development in my federation, I was touching the same problem. The card game was both extremely simple and extremely fun, but I just couldn't quite get non-bridge players to understand the extent of how much they would enjoy it. In reality, what I have always dreamed of as a bridge enthusiast was simply being able to play bridge freely and exactly as I wanted. I had a lot of ideas, but I couldn't implement them. So, while discussing on the sidelines of the hackathon, which was organized among others by Kia Tuang during the health crisis, which was a great initiative, there is an idea. The idea that I was missing, that was born. What is needed is a platform that allows two things. First, she should allow a teacher to enter the data he wants and create a link that corresponds to this data to share it with all his students. Then it would be sufficient to send this link to play the game against robots in order to increase the amount of useful teaching time. And the concept of bridge training was conceived. So evidently, between an idea and its actualization, there is quite a process. So I contacted several junior companies, and it is the one from a prestigious French engineering school, NC Mag, that offered the best service. I worked with Guillaume Ricard, currently doing a PhD in artificial intelligence at the Polytechnique School of Montreal in Canada, and Gaspard Moiseau, the project manager. Since the end of the study until today, I have been working with Guillaume and a longtime friend, Vincent Joquin, for the design, and it has been a little over 2 years now. You see, it still requires a considerable amount of time to complete this type of project. The very first step was to verify an intuition I had regarding the possibility of the machine calculating the best cards to play at any given moment for the user. And for a period of time now, it is presently actually possible thanks to the power of our computers and our phones. It was absolutely imperative to avoid renting large servers. This study has clearly demonstrated that it was indeed feasible, and this is what currently guarantees that there is never any deceleration or lag during the game on the bridge training platform. The current budget is a few tens of thousands of euros that I have fully financed, and it's important to note that there is no company behind this site. I desire for this tool to stay free, and that is the reason why I finance it through advertising that is exhibited on the side of the player on the screens. This ensures that, on one hand, there is no limitation in accessing this tool for bridge development, and on the other hand, it self-finances for maintenance and developing new features. Come on, I'll show you right away how you're going to be able to use it, and you'll see it's really immediate. The bridge training website currently exists in French and English. It is comprised of two separate parts. The right part allows you to play a deal to get an idea of the interface that will be offered to your students. And the part that will interest us today is the left part, because it will allow to create from your own data, a data to play. This is the composition of the bridge training interface, specifically designed for the purpose of creating data. Everything I'm going to show you from now on is doable by hand. But what is perhaps most important for bridge teachers and those who will create deals in general is that you absolutely do not need to recreate everything by hand. You can very well use your existing equipment in the form of PBN files or DUP files. This is my plan here. I will download a personal data file on Drury as an example of what I'm going to do in this situation. It is a file that contains 4 data, as you can see. Here is the first piece of data. As you can see, all 4 games, the contract and the lead have already been imported, as well as the bidding sequence for each game. The import process is complete. But that's not all. As you can observe in this area, the comments pertaining to the auction, along with your final comment, have also been imported and included in the system. You can add to all of this data any data you want, especially comments on the card game, a type of bridge, a vulnerability, or, which is very useful, a result that you expect from your student. You can indeed, for instance, play the contract of 4 hearts with the hope and intention of encouraging your student to achieve an overtrick. Or you can place it on its side and ask it to limit the declarer to 9 tricks. So this is where you can make adjustments to this setting. What is of utmost importance ultimately is this tab that will enable you to specify the pedagogical characteristics that you wish to utilize. You have the option to allow your student to bid, or you can just display the bidding sequence to them. You can additionally exhibit him the trump, exhibit him the contract, or have him participate in mini bridge, or even, for individuals who are completely new to the game, not exhibit them anything at all. In this way, you can simply have them touch the bridge with their finger to convince them that it's a great game. All you have to do is press this button. It's as simple as that. Just a quick press and you're good to go. It couldn't be easier. This button will enable you to create an address. Here it is. This is the address that you will be able to communicate to your students so that they can play the game based on the characteristics that you have chosen. And this is an example of what the user interface looks like in its current state. When your student clicks on the link you sent them, this is the visual content that they will be able to view on their screen. Here, the system, that is to say, the robots, maintain the positions of west, north, and east. Your student is placed in the south. As you can see, the auctions for the northern and eastern regions that were planned are displayed on the screen. Your student must consequently bid at this juncture. Let's envision that he commences with a peak, typically and as is customary. North responds by bidding 2 clubs employing the Drury convention. And as you could see, the comment that you had planned materialized and appeared on the screen. The word comes back to the user in the southern region. Typically, he would say 2 hearts at this location. Let's imagine that the student makes a mistake. He's going to say 2 peaks. He is told that there is a better offer possible. At this stage, he could say from the heart. If he makes a mistake again, for example by saying de carreau, the system will automatically place the correct bid, which is here de coeur. Your student will be able to continue this process until they eventually reproduce the sequence that you had planned. At the end of this sequence, the card game will start. As you can see, the planned opening, that is the 4 of hearts, is well executed by the system. In the past, we had the chance to extend the beginning of the imposed card game by asking the dummy to play the 5 of hearts on the first trick, as an illustration of how the game could have progressed from that point onwards, for instance. We didn't do it, but it would be entirely possible. For now, the 4 of hearts has been played, and the student has the hand directly. He will therefore be able to play the card of his choice. Here, for example, the 5. The jack is played, and in the south at that time, it is possible to take the king, for example. Let's study this interface a little bit. What do we have on the left? We have the contract right at the top here, with the objective if you entered it in the previous phase. It is possible that you have entered the vulnerability. You have the count of lifts that have been completed in both the north and south directions. And finally, you have 3 buttons. Let's take a closer look at what's behind these buttons. The initial button is an information button. In the event that I click on it, I will have the capacity to locate the contract, the objective that you assigned, who was the giver, the lead, the vulnerability, the bidding sequence, and the last trick. The second button will enable your student at any time to determine which cards can guide him to achieve the most favorable outcome on the deal. If I click on it, you will be able to see here that the Ace of Spades and the Three of Clubs are the most favorable cards to play in 4 games at that particular time. Ultimately, the last button is the button that permits us to make bets and, as a result, assert a particular number of tricks during the game. Here, I utilize this button to abbreviate the duration of the card game, and as you can observe, the student successfully executed the requested number of tricks or even exceeded it. In this situation, he possesses 3 stars and he receives a message of congratulations that is addressed to him. At this point, he has the ability to replay the add-on. Consult the 4 hands, which can assist you if you wish to provide feedback on the add-on by projecting the 4 hands using a video projector, for instance. Alternatively, he has the option to refer to the diagram and read the comments on the add-on. By clicking on this button, the diagram is displayed, as can be seen, along with the header. And here you can access the comments that have been directed towards your user for reading. Let us now examine what might have transpired if you had opted for alternative parameters. This is the outcome that will occur if you opt, for instance, as an input in the identical information, to merely display your learner the process of placing bids. Here I refrain from touching anything and observe the sequence of auctions occurring for the student without his need to intervene. On this screen, I have opted for alternative configurations. Its parameters were to display what the asset is and what the objective is in terms of the number of raises. This is what you can verify here at the top left. The student is consequently positioned directly at the start of the card game. At long last, here is the interface that your users will have if you make use of a mini bridge mode for your convenience and ease of use. They will have the ability to see their game in the southern region and will know the distribution as well as the number of honor points of naught. They will have the ability, starting from that point in time, to directly select the ultimate agreement that you will have participated in. In this particular scenario, if I intend to utilize the mini bridge mode, I will be required to directly input the 4 hearts contract, which will subsequently be deducted from the user's score. This deduction will be carried out by utilizing the decision grid that is associated with the mini bridge feature. Your user is thus informed that he is playing the contract of 4 hearts, and the remaining part of the deal unfolds in exactly the same way as you already know. Now, how can we make use of this tool? The possibilities it offers are truly immense and boundless. First possible use, sending emails. 2 potential uses can be envisioned in this particular category. The initial, the utilization by a teacher who has just provided his class and who could transmit to all participants various links that correspond to the training data. Clearly, the teacher is motivated to establish a collection of contributions in a manner that enables him to retain his references and utilize them at a later time. Another example of possible use is a club emailing. We know that clubs often organize tournaments with commented donations. It is totally possible for them to generate links to the commented data and then send those links to the participants of this tournament along with their results. Another potential use, this time it is specifically related to the production of paper and its associated processes. I am thinking in particular of commented data records, such as those from clubs. where it is entirely possible to integrate QR codes into the comments. In this way, participants will leave with the comment sheet, and by simply scanning the QR code, they will be able to replay the record and access the various comments. Similarly, writers of bridge articles for print publications may now consider incorporating this QR code into their articles in a manner that enables their readers to promptly apply the different concepts they elucidate in their articles. One more instance of usage is the inclusion of these links in the video description for individuals who create content on various platforms. Today, it is completely possible to discuss data and provide illustrations in video tutorials and then incorporate hyperlinks in this description in a manner that allows internet users to engage and apply. In the last example of use, we now have knowledge that federations are seeking incentives specifically for new members to encourage them to obtain their license. Well, here is an excellent incentive for them. Simply create pages using the educational material provided by the federations and enable newcomers to access these pages and participate in the educational programs once they have obtained access to this valuable resource. Summary. You got it. A unique tool with services unlike RealBridge, FunBridge, IntoBridge, BBO, or others platforms. He leaves only your imagination as a limit to make your students play, to make your readers play, or to make non-bridge players test cards. All is free, all is possible, all is accessible with just one click, so it's your choice to play.